Well, the streak was bound to end eventually, and yesterday it finally happened. The South Carolina women's basketball team losing for the first time since the 2023 Final Four. 43 wins in a row, but it all unraveled yesterday against number 5 UCLA out in California. The Gamecocks losing 77-62, and to be honest, if you guys watch this game was never close. It's a bit of a wake-up call for South Carolina in this still very young season, but with that comes the latest AP rankings, and South Carolina dropping down to number 4 in this week's poll as UCLA becomes the new number 1. The Gamecocks had been number 1 for the last 23 weeks and 61 of the last 62.
Yeah, my message was this is what we usually do to teams. It doesn't feel good when you're on the receiving end of it, but you also know you got beat by a great team. Like executing on both sides of that was beautiful basketball by UCLA, beautiful on both sides. Like I can't, I'm on the opposite side of it, but you can't help but to love up on it because it was fluid on both sides of the ball. They wanted it. I thought our kids fought, but we ran into a buzzsaw today. They were hitting on all cylinders. They actually executed our game plan to a T. Like I thought we did a great job on bets, but we got killed by everybody else, and we'll learn a valuable lesson. I like what we did on bets, and then we got to figure out how we control everybody else and not allow them to get as many open looks. And I mean, they hit open looks, they hit contested looks. It was a great game, great atmosphere, and a great opportunity for UCLA to knock us off.
So let's take a look at this amazing streak from South Carolina, because this is really something that shouldn't be taken for granted. What they've been doing the past few years, and this season is still so new. There's a lot of wins coming, but South Carolina by the numbers. Of course, they won 42 in a row back in 2022-23. That was the original program record. They lost in the SEC Tournament Championship in 2022, won the national championship, then went 36-0 in the season before losing in the Final Four in 2023. And then after that is this period we've been in now, as South Carolina won 43 in a row, including an undefeated national championship season last year. They won their first 5 games of this season, but it ends at number 5 UCLA. So the win streak, again, it's sports. They were bound to lose eventually, and it happened yesterday at the hands of the Bruins. So let's take a look at the top 6 of this week's AP poll. A lot of movement between these 6 specifically, as UCLA moves up to the number 1 spot for the first time in program history. UConn remains at number 2, and then the other big movement was Notre Dame going up to the 3 spot as they upset Southern California on Saturday, and Southern California, the Trojans, dropping down to number 6. South Carolina again moving down to the number 4 spot, and Texas, who was number 4 last week, is still undefeated, but they moved down to number 5 as they haven't really played a top team yet. So we're still waiting to see what the Texas Longhorns do against a top team, and Texas is a really talented group. Now, I'm an AP voter this year for the first time, and here's what my poll looks like this week, and it's actually the exact same top 6 as the collective overall top 6 that you guys just saw. We as voters, we don't talk to each other. We all do our own ballots individually, and then we submit it, and a lot of us were on the same page. I had UCLA at number 1. I think if you're a top 5 team and you're undefeated and you knock off number 1, you've earned the right to be number 1 until proven otherwise. I think UConn number 2 because I had them at number 2, and I don't think they've done anything to drop down in the rankings. I think UConn is a really, really good group this year. And I also had Notre Dame at number 3. I really just flip-flopped them and Southern California. I think South Carolina has had a tougher schedule to start the season, and they should be rewarded for that. So I dropped them down to number 4, which I think is pretty reasonable. And then I also had got Texas at number 5, as I think the Longhorns are a really good group. But you can check out my full AP Top 25 on our website at WACH.com. The Gamecocks are back in action against Iowa State on Thanksgiving Day. The Cyclones actually dropping down to number 15 this week as they suffered a loss last week as well. Tip-off between the Gamecocks and the Cyclones is at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, and you can watch that game right here on WACH FOX on Thanksgiving Day.